In this video, I will be trying to get on Scratch's trending page in only 7 days on a fresh account.
That was me around 2 months ago, and I in fact did not go viral. But I wanted to redeem myself, so in this video, I will attempt the same exact challenge, except I will give myself 30 days to do so. Will I prove my skill, or am I just a liar? I have some explaining to do. When I posted the original video, despite a lot of people enjoying it, some people didn't like the fact that I didn't go viral, and one of the most liked comments in that video was calling me out for clickbait. But that didn't sit with me very well. For a time, I kept thinking, what if, instead of clickbaiting, I actually did go viral? And that's why I'm sitting here today, explaining this to you right now. I'm going to prove everyone wrong by going viral on Scratch in just 30 days, without any help from this YouTube channel or my main Scratch account. So yeah, that's all I have to say. I started this challenge by making my new account. I called it Pow-tato. It's kinda cool because it's like a potato and it's like a play on words or something. I'm sorry, it's a really bad username. Anyways, I set up some branding for this new account by making a profile picture and banner. I wasn't really happy with the way that it came out, but I can always fix it later. I also decided that now was a good time to check trending and see what type of games were popular nowadays. And one game really caught my eye. It was called Tower Climb by a user named Devlog. The thing that made this game so special for me was the fact that it was Devlog's first project and still got on trending. Devlog's project provided hope for me. Maybe I could follow in his footsteps and also go viral on my very first post. But now, it's time to stop procrastinating and come up with an idea for my first game. And I had a pretty good idea, so here's how it goes. You are a dog. And that's it. I didn't really know what type of game it would be or what core mechanics I would implement, but I thought that it'd be pretty cool if I made a cute game about dogs, because dogs are cool. It is now officially day 2, and I also wanted to get something out of the way. If you watched the original video, you may be wondering why I'm giving myself 30 days instead of 7 days to go viral in this video. And my answer to that is that it's just too hard to go viral on Scratch in just 7 days. 7 days is a very short period of time, and it's definitely not enough time to make an actual high quality game. I don't think I've ever seen someone on Scratch make a game and blow it up in just 7 days. It usually takes a few days for a game to get on trending anyways, so it's basically impossible to attempt the original challenge. So that's why I changed my time limit and made this challenge a little bit easier. Well, now, I guess we should just start coding the game. I started by making the dog because that's the only thing I really knew was going to be in the game. I also made some animations for the dog, and it looks pretty cool if you ask me. Some people ask me how I make my pixel art and what software I use. For those wondering, I just use the Scratch costume editor in bitmap mode. I'm just used to it, and it works pretty well for me. The next thing that I added to this game was some platforming scripts for the dog. I guess that means that this doggy game is going to be a platformer now. Oh yeah, I also decided on a name for the game. It's called Detective Doggy. I don't know, it sounds pretty cool though. So, I forgot to record yesterday, but that doesn't really matter because something crazy happened. Remember the guy I was talking about earlier? You know, Devlog, the one who got #1 on trending on a completely new account? Well, he actually messaged me on my main account, and it's not like I even messaged him first. I mean, that's pretty cool if you ask me. Yeah, why are we still sitting here? I continued Detective Doggy by adding some art for the ground. I decided that the ground was going to be concrete, so I guess that this game takes place in some sort of city. So while I was at school, I spent a lot of time thinking about Detective Doggy, and I came up with an idea for the game. So you are a dog, and your bone gets stolen by an evil fox. The goal of the game is to get your bone back. I also had the idea of adding NPCs that teach you things and give you important information. So yeah, let's get to work. I started by making some dialogue code. This code would be used for talking to NPCs and stuff like that. But instead of doing this alone, I found a tutorial series from Griffpatch that teaches exactly what I need. So I watched the series, but then, at the very end, I realized that this was an unfinished series. That means that some of the features that Griffpatch said he would add were never actually added. There were supposed to be 4 tutorials in the series, but he only ended up making 3, so that was a shame. But that honestly didn't matter that much because I am a professional Scratch programmer. I was able to add the features that Griffpatch forgot to add, so I think it's safe to say that I'm officially better than Griffpatch. Today is officially the first weekend of this challenge, and that's not the best part. It's also the start of spring break. That means I'll also have much more time to work on Detective Doggy, and that's what I'm going to do right now. I started by adding shadows to the text engine. I followed another tutorial by Griffhatch to make this shadow effect, and it came out pretty nicely. I also changed the way the background section of the text engine looked, and I think that it fits the vibe of our game a bit better than what we had before. And to finish this day off, I added a simple main menu to this game. This is just a cute little addition. Main menus are almost always useless in Scratch games, but they just add another level of polish. So, I just realized something. Although it's a really good thing that I'm on break right now, in 4 days, I'm going to be traveling and won't have my computer or really any time to work on this challenge. I'll try to use my iPad or phone when I can, but I'm a bit worried that I'll waste a lot of my precious time. And speaking about making the best use of my time, we should probably start working on the game right now. I started this day off by adding an intro to the game. It's just a screen where the dog talks to you about how he lost his bone. I also added a tutorial to the game, and it's in the same style as the intro. And it was around this time that I noticed that it didn't really look like the dog was in a city. So I added some buildings to the background of the game, and man, that actually looks so cool. I'm really happy with the way the background came out, and it really helped set the tone for this game. But something I noticed was that the text on the main menu didn't pop out enough after we added in the buildings, so I added a little outline to the text, and I think it's a good improvement. The next thing I added was 4 new levels. If you've ever watched any of my other videos, you'll know that I absolutely hate level design, especially if I'm making multiple levels, and this experience was no different. It was pretty painful, but our game wouldn't be possible without levels, so I just endured the agony. However, I wanted to end this day off on a high note, so I started doing something more enjoyable instead. I started adding the very first NPC to our game. I wasn't able to finish the NPC today, as I was starting to get a bit tired, but I promised myself that I would finish tomorrow. I'm scared. No, actually, I've been doing some thinking recently, and I'm honestly terrified by the idea of not going viral. I've already made a fool of myself once, so I really don't want to make a fool of myself again. I feel like this is my last shot of redeeming myself, and the thought of failing is a nightmare. I literally feel knots in my stomach because I'm so worried that I'll fail once again. But the only way I can succeed in this challenge is by continuing my game, so that's what I'm about to do right now. I finished what I had started doing yesterday, which was making the first NPC, and after some coding, I finished it. I was pretty proud of the work I had accomplished over the past few days, so I decided to do a little playthrough of the game. While doing so, I realized that there was a glitch where the player could stick to the ceiling of walls, so I fixed that pretty quickly. I'm glad I caught this glitch because it's pretty weird, and I already knew that everyone would start complaining about it in the comment section if I had not patched it. Another thing I realized while doing my playthrough of the game was that the game was too easy and didn't have any obstacles. Usually platformers have spikes that the player needs to jump over, but I'm not really sure that you commonly see spikes in the middle of a city, so I decided to make traffic cones instead. They have the same exact shape as spikes, but they fit the city vibe. The next thing I decided to make were 2 new NPCs. I already had the code for the original NPC, so I just copied it for these 2 new ones. And after that, I knew exactly what I needed to do: level design. I made 6 more levels, and as you may have already guessed, I hated every second of it. And while making the levels, I had a good idea of adding trampolines into our game. I know, they don't really make sense in the context of a city, but I think that they'd be pretty cool, so I added them anyways. And that was all the things that happened on day 8. I'm still scared, and I'll probably be feeling the same exact way for the entire challenge. It's kind of funny because I never thought I would get this scared and nervous because of Scratch. It's literally a kid's coding website. I continued Detective Doggy by adding in 8 new levels. I know that you're probably tired of me complaining about level design, so I'll stop complaining. And with that, we have basically finished the core mechanics of Detective Doggy. But that doesn't mean that we're finished quite yet. Detective Doggy needs to find his lost bone at the end of the game. I thought it would be a good idea to have it so that the person who stole his bone was a fox. So I need to make the fox now. I actually made some fox art a while back for another video, but surely no one would notice if I reused it. So after adding in the fox art, I had the idea that once the player had met the fox, they had a little conversation, and then the fox ran away, which would start a chase sequence. Hopefully that makes sense. So I started by making the conversation between the fox and the player. This was pretty simple as I had the code from Griffhatch's tutorial that I could use. The next thing that I added was levels for the chase sequence. I'm not going to rant about level design again, but I just want to let you know that it was really annoying to do. I wasn't able to finish the chase sequence all in one day, but over the next few days, I would continue progress on it. Today is the last day I have before I go on vacation, so I'm going to do quite a bit of work. And it's not like I haven't done a lot of work already. This is already the biggest project that I've ever made for a YouTube video, and it's only taken me 9 days to do this so far. I'm really proud of the progress that we've made so far, and we need to keep on going.
And that's exactly what I did. I started off by following a tutorial from another Scratch YouTuber, McTonk. I've already followed this tutorial before in another video, and because it worked pretty well, I'm going to be using it again. This tutorial gives us the fox movement code for the chase sequence. So with the help of this tutorial, we can make it look like the fox is running away. But in reality, it's just a pre-recorded video of the fox running away that is being displayed on the screen. It's kinda tedious, and it took me a while to record the fox running away for all 10 levels in the chase sequence. But I mean, at least the recordings didn't get deleted. The footage of the fox got deleted. That means that I have to redo everything. After some more tedious work, I finally finished the recordings for the second time, and this time, it didn't get deleted, which was awesome. I also added code that makes the stolen bone follow the fox. It's just a nice little touch to the game. And with that, I had finished the chase sequence. I thought that the chase sequence would be a good conclusion to the game, so that meant we were done with Detective Doggy. This was a satisfying ending to the game. Or was it? I showed the game to both my mom and my dad, and they both said the same thing. The ending to the game was too anticlimactic. So I decided to take their advice and code in a boss battle. The boss battle would make the game feel more complete and less anticlimactic. Although a boss battle would take another few days to make, I decided that making one would be worthwhile.
Today is the day that starts my vacation, and I thought that it'd be pretty cool if I documented some of the things that happened over the course of my trip. So I guess you can call me Viiperrr the vlogger now. I'm sorry.
This trip is going to be taking us to 3 different locations, and the first one is Las Vegas. Anyways, I was pretty busy today, so I didn't really have any time to work on the boss battle today, but maybe tomorrow? Day 12 started with my family heading over to our second location, Zion Canyon. Because the drive from Las Vegas to Zion Canyon was pretty long, I was going to work on the boss battle for Detective Doggy using my phone in the car. But I decided against it because I got flashbacks. You'll only understand if you watch that video. After arriving at Zion Canyon, we started hiking, and man, I saw a lot of squirrels. After waking up and getting out of our hotel, we hopped into our car and started driving to a hiking spot. And during that drive, I decided to finally face my fear and work on Detective Doggy using my phone. I didn't really have the motivation to start working on the boss battle, so I decided to add a feature that would be easier to implement. That feature was mobile controls. Whenever I've posted Scratch projects in the past, there are always a lot of people complaining that they couldn't play my game on their iPads and phones. So for once, I decided that I'd make a mobile-friendly game. I wasn't able to finish making the mobile controls during the car ride, but I did make some good progress. When we got out of the car and started hiking, I noticed that we were starting to get pretty high up, so I had a brilliant idea.
Subscribe to Viiperrr! This is so awkward. I don't like this. This is weird. I don't like this.
After that awkward moment, we got back into our car and started heading to our third location, Bryce Canyon. And something funny happened while we were driving to Bryce Canyon. When we finally arrived at Bryce Canyon, we decided that we were all too tired to hike, so we just stayed at the hotel. While I was at the hotel, I decided to make good use of my time and hopped on Scratch. I was just browsing the website, not doing much. But then I found a Scratch forum post that changed everything. So basically, the forum post is saying that projects with a project ID that is higher than 970 million cannot get on trending. And unfortunately, the project ID for Detective Doggy was 993 million. So that means it's impossible for Detective Doggy to get on trending. I thought about possible solutions to this problem for a while, but then I suddenly had a good idea. A while back, I had made a new account. I had never posted a single project on this account and never told anyone that this account was mine. I did make some comments on this account though, and I somehow had 1 follower. But honestly, 1 follower is not a big deal. It's not going to do us anything in the long run, so I assure you, this is not cheating. So I guess we need to say goodbye to Potato now and say hello to Mushroom Codes. So I hopped onto Mushroom Codes using my iPad and imported the project file for Detective Doggy into a project that had a lower project ID of 802 million. I also spent this time finishing the mobile controls for the game, and this concluded day 13. The majority of day 14 was just spent hiking and hanging around the Bryce Canyon area. The Bryce Canyon area is honestly pretty empty, but we somehow managed to spend our entire day there. At around 4 o'clock, we arrived at our hotel and I began the boss battle for Detective Doggy. I started by adding some dialogue between the dog and the fox right before the boss battle. This just prepares the player for what's about to happen next. After that, I made a rolling animation for the fox. I decided that the fox's main attack in the boss battle would be a rolling move, and I kinda took inspiration from Sonic the Hedgehog. This animation took a lot of time because I needed to get it just right, but I finally came up with an animation that I liked. At this point, it was around 7 o'clock, and we tried to see the sunset, but we missed it. Bummer. When we finally got back at the hotel, we started to settle down, and we just did some random stuff. By around 10 o'clock, everyone else in my family was starting to go to bed, but I decided that now was a good time to continue working on the boss battle for Detective Doggy. So that's what I did. I implemented a feature where you could jump on the fox's head to damage it, but now, the boss battle was way too easy. I spent some time thinking about possible solutions to this problem, but at the moment, I couldn't come up with anything, so I just went to bed. Day 15 was sadly the last day of my vacation, so I guess it's time to say goodbye to Viiperrr the vlogger now. I spent this day going back home, and that was basically it.
Man, it feels good to be home. The vacation was a nice break from all this scratch work that I've been doing, but now it's time to continue the grind. It's already day 16, and that means that we have less than half of the month left to finish Detective Doggy. Oh yeah, I also decided that Detective Doggy will be the only game that I'll be posting in this entire challenge. It might make the video a little bit less entertaining, but right now, my only focus is completing the challenge. So yeah, let's go.
You may remember, 2 days ago, I made a feature that lets you jump on the fox's head to damage it, but it made the game too easy. However, after some thinking, I might have a solution. So basically, my new idea is that you cannot jump on the fox's head while he was rolling, but occasionally, he might get tired and stop rolling for a few seconds. When he stops rolling, then you can jump on his head. I hope that made sense, and if it didn't, you'll get what I mean soon enough. So I implemented this feature, and it works nicely. It definitely makes the game a bit harder, and helps with the issue of our game being too easy. But this still wasn't enough, so I added another feature that makes this game even harder. That feature is a traffic cone in the middle of the level. This allows for some pretty intense situations, and I think that with this, we've officially made the boss battle hard enough. The last thing that I added for the day was some instructions for the boss battle. I honestly didn't like the way the instructions came out because they were a bit confusing, but I decided to brush the issue aside and ended day 16.
I think that I'm at my lowest point right now during the challenge. For the past 2 days, I haven't done anything related to this challenge. I'm still really scared, and I'm starting to wonder if this is all really worth it. What if I don't manage to get on trending, and these countless hours of work go down the drain? And my main concern isn't really finishing Detective Doggy now. I know that it's a good game. My main concern is getting it on trending. From my experience on Scratch, making a good game doesn't guarantee that you get on trending. That's what worries me the most. So it's been another 2 days since you've last seen me. I did some polishing off camera, and that means that we're basically finished with the game. But anyways, do you remember Devlog? The guy I was talking about at the beginning of the challenge who got #1 on trending on a completely new account? Well, I actually came into contact with him, and I asked him for some advice on how to go viral. I hope you guys are as excited as I am right now. Devlog's advice might be just what I need right now.
Devlog gave me 4 very good pieces of advice. And if you want to check it out for yourself, I'll leave a link in the description to it. I also asked my friend Project Labs, who is also a Scratch YouTuber, for advice on my project. We spent a lot of time just chatting about the game, and he gave me some really good ideas. One of his best ideas was making a system that spawns spikes randomly during the boss battle. This makes the game more unpredictable, and adds another level of fun to our game. Project Labs also encouraged me that my game was good, and that he thought I could get on trending. So I'd really like to thank both Devlog and Project Labs for being in my video. I'll put links to both of them in the description if you are interested in checking them out. And now, I just sat down by my computer, scared. I knew that the game was now complete and that it was time to share Detective Doggy, but I was afraid. Afraid that my game would flop. Afraid that I would embarrass myself. Afraid that I would waste so many hours. The pressure was pressing down on me as I just sat there. But I knew what I had to do. In this video, I will be trying to get on Scratch's trending page in only 7 days on a fresh account. I bet I'll do fine, right? And while doing so, I knew that if this project didn't perform well, I would have failed this challenge. If I didn't get on trending, all my hard work would have gone to waste. This game was the last card I could play. I would either go big or go home. I woke up on Saturday morning with anticipation and fear, genuinely not knowing how my project did. So I opened up Scratch, and let's just say that I failed this challenge.
I'm going to prove everyone wrong by going viral on Scratch in just 30 days, without any help from this YouTube channel or my main Scratch account. I'm scared. No, actually, I've been doing some thinking recently, and I'm honestly terrified by the idea of not going viral. I've already made a fool of myself once, so I really don't want to make a fool of myself again. I feel like this is my last shot of redeeming myself, and the thought of failing is a nightmare.
But I knew what I had to do. I clicked share. I used the methods that Devlog had told me about, such as selectively advertising and adding my project to studios, so that's what I did. I may have gone a bit overboard because I stayed up until 2 AM just adding my project to studios, but at this point, I was willing to do anything to get my project on trending.
It is now officially day 30, which means that it's the last day of this challenge. So you'll find out shortly if I actually went viral or not. But before I reveal the results of this challenge, I just want to say that I had a really fun time making this video, and this was a crazy experience. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say, yeah. Oh yeah, and I went viral, like completely viral. I got #1 on trending, and it has like 100,000 views or something. I went viral.
I think it's safe to say that we went viral. It's crazy to think that last time I did this, I couldn't even break 100 views. But before we do anything else, I just want to show you the game that I've created over the course of these 30 days.